In this video, I'm going to show you how to easily upgrade your stock sprocket on your Trek Marlin or Roscoe. I went from a 30 tooth to a 34 tooth. The same applies to a 32 tooth because I found that I was pedaling like a hamster on a wheel on flat ground with this sprocket. So I decided to go to a 34 tooth sprocket because I'm here in South Florida where it's fairly flat. I do go off-road, so I did want to still retain that off-road capabilities. I feel that the 34 tooth will provide me the performance that I need. I was going about 13 to 14 miles an hour on flat ground. Now I'm able to do 15 to 17 miles per hour consistently on my ride. So without further ado, let's get started on the install. Please like and subscribe. You'll need a sprocket puller tool. This tool is about $10. A link to the product is below. The first thing we'll need to do is remove the pedals. You'll need a 15 millimeter wrench, or some of the pedals have a hex key in the back. Some of them are 8 millimeters. This one happens to be 6. So I can either remove the pedals this way by putting the wrench on the pedal like this. If I go behind here, I can loosen the pedal that way. I'm going to use the wrench to loosen this up. And what I want to do is put the pedal in this orientation. And what I want to do is pull this pedal. It's going to go counterclockwise. There I loosened it, and then I could show you how to remove it from the back here. There's one pedal, and now moving over to the opposite side, the threads are reversed. So what I want to do is make sure that I turn this in a clockwise direction. Go ahead, remove that pedal. Set that aside. Next, I want to go after the sprocket retaining nut, and I'm going to use an 8 millimeter socket. I'm going to position this crank arm like that, and I'm going to use my leverage to loosen this up. There we have it. It's loosened up. Go ahead and remove that. Now what I'm going to need is this sprocket puller tool. To utilize the sprocket puller tool, what you want to do is thread back the pusher like that, so it's below flush like that, and then I'm going to thread that larger threads onto the sprocket like this till it stops, and then I'm going to thread the pusher tool on like that. Then I'm going to use a big wrench, and what it will do is it will pull the sprocket off that square taper. But before I do so, I'm going to go ahead and remove the chain and just set it on the inside of the sprocket out of the way like that. Because I'm going to attempt to reuse this chain. The chain does look pretty gnarly, but I will replace it most likely, but I'll show you how to do it without having to replace the chain. Once it's tightened down, what you want to do is put your sprocket about the 3 o'clock position, the wrench at the 12 o'clock position, and then using the leverage, tighten that down. It's going to take a little bit of effort to do so. Eventually, it's going to come, and the sprocket will come off, as you see here. And then use your wrench to remove the sprocket puller tool. With the sprocket removed, clean up the square tapered with a rag, getting any of the grit out of there. Then, using some light grease, grease the square taper. Let's put a light amount on there. Probably put a little too much. I'm going to retain the factory cartridge, and I'm not going to touch that. I'm just going to install the new sprocket on here. I greased the square taper. I'm going to go ahead and install the new sprocket on here. Then I'm going to take my bolt here. I put a little grease on the end, and then I'm just going to thread that on. Now I'm going to torque this down to the specifications, which is 30 foot-pounds or 45 Newton meters. It says it right here on the dial, so check it before you go ahead and do so. It may take several cranks of the torque wrench to get the crank arm swaged onto the square taper. All right, got that torqued. Now I'm going to put the crank on the other side. Now that I have both crank arms installed, I'm going to go ahead and install the chain. This is the stock chain, and I want to prove to myself that the stock chain will work despite changing the front sprocket size. There we have it, like that. Go ahead and let's run it through its gears. I am going to change this chain out, and there's several videos on how to do so, but I want to make sure that the stock chain worked with this. Go ahead and crank this. Let's run it through its gears all the way up. This is a 10 gears, works perfectly fine. Let's run it back down. No issues, and it's working great. All the way down to the smallest. All right. I'm going to go ahead and install the pedals on the new crank arm. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments. I hope you liked this video. Subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.